Razor Fangs. Many, many years ago, in a tiny town called Stomford, were many myths and legends. All was fine until the fateful day of Hallows Eve, when the unimaginable started happening. Several young teenagers were exploring an abandoned asylum, even though their parents had forewarned them never to enter there. Early that morning, the bored teenagers decided to explore it anyway without telling anyone. The doors and windows were boarded up tightly, to which they pried open one window. Once inside, it was dark, dirty, smelled rancid, but still they continued on. They explored many rooms until they came upon one room that had a chain and a lock. Their curiosity only intensified, all the while working on the lock to get it to open. Finally, a click they heard. Cautiously stepping inside the dark, musty room. This was a decision they would regret for the rest of their lives, but little did they know it. The room smelled of the foulest odor, like death, but still they continued to explore it. One turned on a flashlight and looked around the tiny room. There was a soft growl in the corner. They turned around and saw two glowing eyes that were the color yellow-orange, reminding them of flaming candy corn. They screamed, but no one would hear their cries for help. The creature lunged towards them, grotesque in shape. Steel-like claws instead of fingers, and razor-like fangs where teeth should have been. It lunged at one, slowly ripping part of his arm clean off with his razor teeth. He screamed in pain, while the others quickly helped him up, blood everywhere, but they knew they had to get out of there while they still could. The four friends ran as fast as their legs would go, with the hideous monster right behind them. They kept throwing whatever things they found on their way out at the monster, but it still came, totally oblivious of anything except for the intent of reaching them. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, they reached the small window from which they had entered. Quickly, each one jumped out, barely escaping the sharp razor fangs. Once in the woods, they checked their friend, who was bleeding profusely. They all vowed to never tell anyone of what they had discovered that day. No one would believe them anyway, they thought. At the hospital, the doctor asked what happened, only to be told he had fallen into an animal trap while out hiking for the day. The doctors believed it because there were many hunters in the area. Finally free of the hospital, they knew what they had witnessed was real and never wanted to talk about it again. As each year passed on Hallows Eve, a few people within the tiny town would disappear without a trace. There were stories of people seeing yellow-orange glowing eyes on that one night each year, all the day before Halloween. By now, the friends were grown and always wondered if this was the creature they had encountered years ago. Little did they know the evil they unleashed that day on their town. An evil so dark that it took lives on one special night each year. It was always waiting, lurking about and bloodthirsty for its next victim. Every town has its own myths and legends, but this was no myth. A grotesque, bloodthirsty, glowing-eyed razor fang monster is always waiting on Hallows Eve for the next victim. Be careful going out on this night, because you never know if Razor Fangs is lurking in the darkness, waiting to make you his next victim. Happy Halloween.